I don't know why this made the cut either. This is just more confusing than it's worth.
So how can we get a gas pressure down at that depth to be 6 atm? Well, you increase the number of gas particles n.
These fans have been working for 352 years. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know why there would be no history other than you're engineering a societal reset.
Today we're watching Silo Season 2, Episode 7. What happened?
At the beginning of the episode, we see this legacy room. This legacy room is pretty neat. They got an iPad. The Deep Down Gang does some ticker tape diplomacy.
Yep. And Bernard is angry at Sims for some reason.
Unclear. Sims is angry. He's kind of angry kind of all the time.
Lucas continues his research as Bernard's shadow with the iPad.
Iffy. Doesn't seem good. And Juliet survives her side quests, but somebody's watching.
Somebody is watching. Something happened. Something went down. What did you think about today's episode, Season 2, Episode 7?
Good episode. Gave it another 5 out of 10. Kind of, kind of slow episode. The pros was that there was a neat legacy room. Interesting twist to what we thought was a silo that existed with no knowledge of the past. They have some. And it's like pretty techy. Juliet is good at adventuring now. That's great. She had so many problems early in the season with just making some real low level mistakes. And then she did her entire side quest without any problems of her own doing. There was problems with Solo, but that's not her fault. The cons of this episode is that it's kind of a slow episode, and Lucas is becoming unbelievable for me because he's following underneath Bernard's direction as a shadow, but he's got to think that Bernard's going to kill him. Like Bernard already was fine with this guy, with Lucas living in the mines, and he's like, work for me right now, work for me, or I send you back to the mines. And then Bernard's like, let me show you this secret thing that nobody else is allowed to know except for me and my shadow. But like, Bernard could just kill you, right? Like what? Why is Lucas going along with this? Super weird. And then also, I think everyone in the Down Deep should have some degree of hearing loss when they shot that ticker tape diplomacy, the little missile up in there. That was a big boom. That was a big boom, and there's nowhere for that gas to expand to. I think they all should have some hearing problems. What did you think about this episode?
I give this episode another 5 out of 10. Just a solid episode all around.
Yeah.
Some stuff that doesn't make sense to me. How's the IT vault in such good shape? I mean, it's been 352 years. It's looking good. Plus, there's no janitorial staff going in there.
Right.
So who's doing the vacuuming?
It's got to be Bernard.
Yeah. And then why is there no information about the silo before 352 years? About society before 352 years ago?
Suspicious.
Why not? What's the problem? And then what is Bernard's issue with Sims? What is going on? They have some friction, but now they hate each other. Didn't make sense to me.
I don't get it.
Some goods. Kyle getting into the vault was cool. The vault is cool. The info, the iPad thing, very cool. Juliet and Silo have some serious issues. I kind of like that. And the issue is Solo got attacked by some mysterious person.
We think.
Cool. We think there's some we infer that. And I want to know what happened to Solo. What happened to him? Did he get attacked? Did he fall and get stabbed? What happened? And Knox and Shirley are fun, having a good time during the rebellion. Maybe the only two. Some bads. Another round of bad planning and procedures for Juliet and Silo. She ends up pulling it off, but man, she goes far down into the water with not much of a plan. But it's okay.
But she aced it.
Overall, solid episode, 5 out of 10. Let's get into it.
This is the legacy. So I thought let's take a moment and zoom in here and see what's in there.
Okay. So
what was worthy of saving from the before times?
So books. That makes sense.
Yep.
Lots of books.
On the left, pottery, because pottery represents different cultures, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Some collectible from a D&D shop. Right,
because it looks like alligator teeth, but also has horns like a deer.
Yeah.
Okay. Wouldn't that be wild? Wild to hey, future humans, look at the animals we had back in the past, but it's just a combination of different animals.
It's just messing with them. The pots are a weird thing. I mean, I guess archaeologically significant in the modern world, but
Mhm.
Do pots make the cut?
Oh, gosh,
That's
I don't know.
tough
Okay,
sell.
if I ran into a museum and I was like, I have 10 hours to choose the top items, like I'm going to find a lot of vases. I'm going to find a lot of pots inside a museum right now, right? And so then
I
also it's
guess.
like the right size for me to shove in the back of a car and to bring to the silos.
So I guess, but if you have the option of all the museums in a major city, what do you take? Do pots make the cut?
Probably not. I would bring, bring a bunch of Legos because
Mhm.
because like in these relatively small kits, you can show like what are all the technological stuff we
That's
made like
true.
this. Right?
Mm. And this isn't like modern society stuff. This looks like
Old
ancient
stuff. Yeah.
peoples, like thousands, hundreds, thousands of years ago, from
Mm.
our perspective, and made the cut. What's over
Mm.
here?
A plate. Some
Complete
clock. Different clocks.
various clocks. I don't know why they made the cut. What is that? Oh, that is a clock too,
I think
from
so.
like 1950s retro future Fallout look.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that a typewriter?
Hard to tell.
Hard to tell. So I see books.
But the thing above here is this looks like a solar system, maybe.
Yeah.
But why is it so many different angles? Like the solar system is mostly a plane. It's a little bit thick. Like, some of the planets aren't exactly in line, but it's flat. Like what is going on here?
Mhm. So is it a solar system? I mean,
I don't know.
okay. At first I thought definitely solar system, just solar system. But if this is the sun,
Mm-hmm.
then the first in line is Mercury,
Yep.
and then next is it's even hard to tell what's. I think this.
Like what's the radii? Yeah.
Yeah. So is this an atom? Maybe.
If it's an atom, then these electrons are different sizes.
Oh, that doesn't make any sense either. So
And
what?
they're
1,
colored.
2, 3,
Like that-
4,
that thing on
5,
the
6,
left?
7, 8 electrons. What element is that?
Is 8 is
What is 8?
periodic table.
Electrons.
It is oxygen.
Okay. We need oxygen, but
Mm-hmm.
is that
Why more than
No.
any other molecule? And look at that one on the left, that left ball. That's blue. But even more,
It's
yeah,
blue.
right. But if it's Earth, then it's inside Jupiter's radius. Or no, Jupiter's inside Earth's radius.
right? That doesn't make any sense.
Mm.
So, okay. Now I don't
know
even
what
know.
this is.
What could that be? At first glance, solar system, why it's not on the plane, why there's these disparate sizes.
Is it possible that that large ball, the one that's close to us, is just large because of forced perspective? No, sorry, no. That's the center one. The center one. I mean, the one that's a little bit to the
This
left
one?
of that. Yeah, this guy. Is it possible that that's large just because it's closer to us?
I don't.
But they're
Based on
definitely
the-
different colors.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know what this is.
This is more. I don't know why this made the cut either. This is just more confusing than it's worth.
Mhm.
Lucas Kyle looks at this. He says, "Oh, this must be the thing
He's
that I
like,
was talking about."
This is the solar system that I was imagining, and it's all messed up model.
It's like, oh, I didn't realize they were so close to each other.
And like different angles and not on a plane of the solar system, and that's gonna if humanity survives and this silo is the one that makes it, and Lucas Kyle is like our founding father of science, but he's like, look at this model I came up with, but it's wrong.
It's totally wrong. Man,
Planets
maybe
have these random orbits. Like,
Yeah.
that would
Yeah,
mess
so
up society
confusing.
for a long time.
Oh,
Maybe that's Earth.
maybe that's Earth.
Has a little texture to it,
But what is going on with this orbit? What the heck?
right? Right.
I don't know. What else is in here? We've got some lamps, some cool
Yep.
lamps.
A desk,
iPad?
but no seat.
No chair. Yeah.
Standing only. I guess you take stuff over and sit over on that little lounger on the left there.
Yeah. Got
Is that
art, more books, pottery,
drink a
what's in
tree?
here? Archaeological crap.
Mm.
They left the door open.
That's okay. They're in the locked
Wait,
room
here's
anyway.
Earth. That's clearly.
Yeah. That's Europe, Africa, I guess.
I think if I'm looking at this, my eyes are going to this is India.
Agreed.
And then this is like Saudi Arabia, Red Sea,
Yeah.
and the Mediterranean.
Sorry. When I said that's Africa, I meant that object behind the pillar in the staircase is
This
Africa.
thing. Yep.
Also,
Okay.
I noticed that it's clean,
It's clean. Yeah.
If-
Who's cleaning this?
right? If the head of IT and a shadow are the only two people that are allowed in here, and so that means like mechanical can't come in here, like custodial services can't come in there, then it's these two people are the ones cleaning, right?
Right. And who was Bernard's previous shadow?
I think he did not have one, but he was planning on taking Sims.
I see. So he's in here with like a ladder, like dusting.
I mean, who else is it?
It has to be him. So
So
he's
much,
like,
there's so much time spent for the head of IT.
yeah, you gotta get a cleaning plan because there's like a lot of nooks and crannies in this place.
A lot of horizontal surfaces.
Yeah. Cool room though.
Super cool. Lucas Kyle picks up this tablet,
Yep.
and it is fancy, but it's technology that I don't think anyone there knows how it works.
How do I ask it?
Lucas would like information on secret codes and ciphers. Lucky you. Several of those are actual books.
So this looks like a tablet and has a nice user interface, and it has some voice recognition. Like it understood what Bernard's description was. Also, it understood that this is Lucas Kyle because it didn't know who Lucas Kyle was before, but but Bernard's like, Lucas Kyle wants this information, and it understands to do that. And so my question, or my first statement is, I know Lucas Kyle definitely doesn't know how it works, but I don't think Bernard also. I think Bernard also does not know how it works. Like he knows that it does work, but not how, like nuts and bolts, like down to electrons, down to the integrated circuits. Like how does this thing actually produce the results that I'm asking for it? And so my question was, is this a like sci-fi trope? Like forgotten technology that's super in advance, but we don't know how it works. We just know that it does, and so we use it. Is this a sci-fi trope, or is it actually something real? Like, is there actually technology here now in 2025 that we don't know how it works, but we just know that it does?
So I think there's a lot of tech. So we're using a computer right now, and I don't know how it works. If I'm like, there's a lot of parts in the computer.
There's a lot of stuff. Yeah.
And I don't know how. Basically, none of it. I had no idea how it works. I could have some cartoony understanding of a few parts, but mostly I don't know how it works.
But I'm okay with
I could
that.
find somebody in the world who does know how each part works.
Exactly.
I think.
So similarly to cars, like there's so many mechanical parts as well as electronic parts, and there's so much engineering that has gone into each part to be specifically what it is. And for most people, and I mean like the vast majority of people, they're just like keys in, push start, and hit the gas. Like I go. Like I don't know. I go. Right? And so most of the population of the world probably does not know how, like down to every detail, how the car works. But I think, but that's okay. And so that I would not consider that like forgotten technology, because as you said, we could find enough experts to put it together and be like, we do know how, we as humanity as a whole do know how every piece of this car works. So that's category one. Like we use it a lot and it's around, but you don't need to know how it works to use it. But somebody knows. I think there's a category two, which is really my question about, is there technology now that like truly nobody in the world knows how it works? But it does work, so we're like, okay, we just use it.
So I think the answer is, in our world today, I think the answer is no, because we are on like this uptick of technology, and so the people who have made the technology the people who made the technology are still around, and they're teaching the next generation, and so the knowledge is being passed down. So I think you need a societal collapse in order for this tech to exist.
So I see what you're saying. And so since the scientific revolution in like the 1400s, 1300s, something like that, since we've had a more or less continuous society, then we haven't had this like knowledge collapse. Like we haven't had our burning of the Library of Alexandria, where there's all this accumulated knowledge, and maybe like the engineered goods that came out of it, but then we lost our knowledge, but we still had the items.
So I guess an example may be like the Roman aqueducts in the Western Roman Empire after the fall. That they're like, I don't know how to build it. I don't know exactly the principles of its operation, but it works and I'm using it.
But if you have people here turning cranks and like the water's coming, like the water works, like
yeah.
But they'd have no chance of it rebuilding.
So if the aqueduct collapsed in like an earthquake or something, the locals would be like, well,
that's
I
it.
have no idea how to rebuild this thing. I do not know the principles of its operation. That's it. We're using some other method now. And that would be the analogous to this iPad, this tablet breaking, broken in half. Somebody dropped it. And it's like, well, I can't manufacture it anymore. I don't understand how it worked. Now it's toast. Like we're not making another one. I mean, okay. Because there's so few people, even if they did know how it worked, they couldn't manufacture another one. They don't have the modern supply chains.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But they also don't know how it works, I think.
Exactly. Conceptually, if this thing broke, it's done. Like there's no replacements.
No replacements.
And we don't have anything like that in modern society because we haven't had this population rise and collapse.
Right, I think. So after the fall of modern society and we have a post-apocalyptic world, then we may see tech like this.
I wonder if somebody has an example. If you have an example, tell us in the comments.
Yeah, let us know.
So this is the launch of their ticker tape diplomacy, and I think everyone should have had hearing damage from this. And also, is there an AI in this thing? That's loud.
It's loud.
There is a delta event in the central shaft.
A delta event?
What was it?
Propaganda, baby.
Propaganda. I mean, it's not propaganda. It's just the truth.
It's like, the difference between propaganda and truth is if it worked out and was true, then fine. Okay, so my first thought about this is a boom. This is not like a firework where the fuel goes with the firework and then you get like, because like at the point of launch, there's actually very small amount of explosion. This is more like a cannon, like firing a projectile that doesn't have rocket with it. It doesn't have a fuel with it. This is like a big boom, and they're in a closed space. So if you make a big boom out in the wild, out in nature, that you have a hemisphere where the pressure wave can expand. But if you're in this enclosed space, then that pressure wave doesn't really have anywhere to go, which means that it reflects on itself and then damages people's hearing. Right? I mean, yes, there's some space in the vertical direction to expand. I don't know if it's enough.
Now, do you think the hearing loss from this big boom would be temporary or permanent?
That depends. That depends on the details of the boom. So I think if it's small enough, temporary. But if it's really big enough to mess up your eardrums, I think you're damaged hearing loss. And maybe not completely deaf, but there's some frequencies you're not picking up anymore.
Right. Yeah, and especially in mechanical with all the machine noise that they deal with all the time, plus things like this. Everybody's signing each other at this point.
Everyone has some degree of what? Like all the time.
All the time.
And then the other thing was, here. It's the AI. The AI says there's a delta level event. Okay. Whatever the computer is in there.
Yeah.
What was
It says there's a delta level event.
Let's go back.
There's a delta event in the central shaft.
So that's weird because the computer is using all the sensors within the silo, and it sees like a rocket and like this thing and the parachute, and then the propaganda thing comes out, and it's like collating delta event. What?
Right.
That's
So
really
does that
advanced.
mean that this legacy room has some type of AI?
I think it has to because
it's interpreting. It's not just saying like in Mare Holland a loud sound happened. It's like figuring it out and classifying.
Right. To some like probably fairly vague classification system.
Sure.
And it's like able to figure out what just happened, and then that's a delta. That's advanced, which I think is consistent with interacting with the iPad, the tablet thing, with your voice. I think that's AI as we know it.
I'm wondering if the reason. No, let's talk about it. We'll get there.
Okay.
Oh, it's right here.
Oh. This is weird that there's no history beyond 352 years ago in the silo.
When I was first handed that, I searched for answers to the questions that we have all had. And all I could find was that the silo was built 352 years ago. Beyond that, nothing about why it was built or why we are here.
Well, why would they not write down, I mean, the silo builders, why would they not write down that information?
Right now, the only thing that matters is breaking Salvador Quinn's code. So why would I want to decipher the code now?
It implies that there's a problem, potentially unsolvable, that you know nothing about. And the problem like that, especially one which Salvador Quinn went to such great lengths to conceal, is potentially more dangerous than the rebellion.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't know, not having history beyond 352 years ago, not a big deal. Nobody knows about it. Who cares? But then there's this thing that Salvador Quinn knows about. This, like, encoded into something that has implications for the silo decades, 100 years after this guy died. What difference could that possibly make? This guy, like, a prophet?
I mean, effectively, yeah, he's becoming a prophet. My speculation is that there's no history of the world before 352 years because humans destroyed ourselves. And so this is some type of nuclear winter type thing. And so then we're like, build underground and don't tell the future humans how we got there. Because if we tell them how we got there, they may restart it. And so then they're like, but we'll give them a legacy AI so that if they have any problems, they can sort it out. But also, let's not tell them what happened, I guess.
Right. Which means all of these books are like technical books. There's no stories. There's no history. It's all just like chemistry, physics, engineering. Although it's really, really dry.
Although in this silo and also in 17 in Solo's silo, they both have the Wizard of Oz. So there was like some approved children's reading list, and then Salvador Quinn was like, I can decode this.
Yeah, so Wizard of Oz is like fantasy, so it's hard to draw conclusions about what the life is like. But she does live in Kansas. Not in the correct time, but like they could figure out through what's her name in Wizard of Oz? I don't remember. She's not in Kansas anymore. So they could figure out what life is like in Kansas based on the descriptions early in the book and put together what life might have been like before the silo. So I don't know why that made the list.
Why is that even a problem, actually? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, why is it a problem? And why did that make the list? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why there would be no history other than you're engineering a societal reset.
Societal reset, yeah. But then if you're engineering a societal reset, what's with the books? What's with this room? Maybe it's just they have the founders made this room and they're like, it's going to be secret for the top people only, but the bottom people will make the new society under the leadership of the people who know the old society. That doesn't make any sense either.
But that doesn't make any sense because even the head of IT, Bernard here, who's supposed to be like the behind the scenes pulling the strings guy, he even says there's no history from 352 years ago. Like I think there really is no history from before 352. Weird. I don't get it. This we talked about in season 1. These fans have been working for 352 years. Wow, the engineering. Although this pipe right here, falling apart.
That pipe, terrible. But these fans,
imagine things rotating for 352 years without like grinding themselves down. Some like superconducting, magnetic, levitating fan blades, like super high-end tech.
But it can't fail or quench once.
Not once.
I mean, even like little bits of stress on the fan blades, on the mechanisms, on anything accumulated over that long of a time frame. That's wow.
a testament to how good the founding fathers were.
Yeah. It's all dusty and gross. So that means there's like dirt and grit like falling into the fan mechanisms, and it
352-year-old fingernails. Like people, you know, people are cutting them from floor like 12 and like flink. Not my problem.
Yeah, not my problem. And the fan handles it. No, not a problem.
Okay, so there's messages that are happening behind the scenes, but I don't understand how they're moving.
One of the collection bins has a hollow handle, and I don't know who leaves the notes either.
Are we getting to the helpful part soon, or
There was a note in there today, an order.
what kind of order?
So there's orders coming from the Watchers, or not the Watchers. They're coming from the CIA people that are getting to the Watchers, and then they have to do missions. But I don't understand how those messages are moving around, because earlier, I think in the previous episode, Bernard cut off all radio communication. I don't know how, but he did. So there's no radio messages, right?
Yep.
And then between the floors, wherever that barricade is, I think it's now at 120. There's no people going up and down. So I don't understand how messages are actually getting moved around.
So my first thought was there's secret drill holes in the floor. I can just like pass a message down, and they either created recently or they were created in the past to pass messages.
Okay.
But something like that, maybe.
So if I'm on floor 119, I can drop a note down to 120, and then whoever's my watcher in 120 like picks it up, shoves it into the broom handle or whatever they said here.
Right.
Okay.
But you couldn't you get on the main level and like, I'll shoot an arrow with a message to the lower level.
Shot it. Something.
Because it's too obvious.
Right.
So I think this does imply, right, that there's some mechanism by which people can pass messages or maybe even travel up and down.
Actually, now that we're saying it could have been through the trash chute. So in season 1, when Juliet's going down the trash chute, you could just have people on different floors be like, "Oh, it's 3:00. I'm gonna put my hands out, grab a note. 3:00. Like that's when the message comes." And I guess if it's close enough, you can even line of sight it, and like throw them a rock with a string, and then glide the note down the string. Okay, maybe.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you could like connect it with a string and then send the note.
Okay.
Yeah.
As long as it's like coincidental, it's like this is now the time I'm taking my trash out to the trash chute. Like, okay.
But I think before the rebellion happened, that would have to be set up beforehand, right? You're not gonna.
Yeah.
So that means that on multiple levels throughout the silo, there's lots of secret messages being sent up and down through secret drill holes or the trash chutes, and
interesting.
Silo, just a bunch of rats, a bunch of tattletales.
Bunch of tattletales. Although you could calculate like the percolation rate for information to spread from different floors. That'd be neat.
That's true. That'd be cool. And this scene was so weird to me. Bernard comes in, yelling at Sims. What is Bernard's problem with Sims? I didn't understand.
You don't understand how this works, do you? I assigned you this position, this promotion, because I never wanted to see your face again. There are no more conversations between us. You sign what I tell you to sign, you sit behind that desk, you pretend to have power, and then you go home.
Okay.
That's it. That's the rest of your life. Now get out your rubber stamp and give me my fucking search warrant.
Oh, okay. So I understand Bernard's mad, and Bernard and Sims have had tension, but I never saw this like massive falling out thing. What?
I didn't see that coming either. So my best guess was that Sims's wife was playing games behind the scenes, and then Bernard was like, if Sims's wife's doing it, then Sims must also be a part of it. And actually, she was playing both sides. So, but other than that, I don't understand why Bernard is so angry.
Right, and this is like decades of friendship, power, like sharing power together, like putting down like problems in the silo together.
Teamwork stuff. And
then
Bernard and Sims just like killed. No, he cleaned up the body for Mary.
Yeah,
like he was still working loyally for him even up till very recently.
Right. So I
don't know why this warrants Bernard being so crazy.
I mean, I can understand them being angry at each other because, like, friends get angry at each other, colleagues get angry at each other. It doesn't mean, like, I'm never talking to you again. I don't want to see your face. Like, what? Whoa. Sims, they've been. If I were to pick anybody for Bernard to rely on in the silo, it would be Sims.
Mm-hmm.
And if he has a snafu with his wife, Sims has a problem with his wife, that's a problem they can solve together. Finding another loyal person like that, or somebody you can trust, that's going to be hard.
Sims is still keeping the secret that Bernard killed Mary.
Right. That's right.
What's he doing going here and pissing on Sims?
I didn't know what was the catalyst for this.
I don't understand.
I didn't understand. Well, if somebody knows, let us know, because what the heck? This was in the vault in IT. How much paper do they have after 352 years? Just a fresh notebook for Lucas Kyle.
Wait, what do you mean? It's just paper. What's the problem?
I mean, are they manufacturing paper at this quality? Paper gets used up. Paper degrades.
That's right.
They
Even
have,
if
like,
you don't use it, it gets all yellowy and weird.
Yeah, maybe they have, like, in the it actually is not books in the IT vault. It's just vacuum sealed notebooks for the next shadow.
That's right.
Because I mean, I guess they could be manufacturing paper in the silo.
Yeah, because they have trees. They have trees, and so they could cut it up, mulch it up, turn it into like this like pasty stuff.
Right, and I guess hemp can also be other plants can be used for quality paper.
They got weed in the silo. Hell yeah.
Hell, I mean, they better, right? What else are you gonna do?
Yeah, right. What else are you gonna do?
It's just another thing that they are expected to manufacture, and the list of things that they are manufacturing at high quality is getting pretty large.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure 10,000 people. I don't think there are enough people in a 10,000 person silo to manufacture all of these things: nuts, bolts, metal, power, paper.
And so many skill sets. Where if if someone dies without their shadow being fully trained, then that skill set's gone.
Gone. Yeah.
Mm. At the very end of the episode, we see Juliet go from the bottom of the silo up to the top, and she does this panicky swim. But I don't think she needed to. I mean, people panic, but I think if she came up slowly, it would have been totally fine.
Okay.
She took off her boots. I think it's to be lighter. I think.
Okay.
Pull on the rope. Makes sense.
Okay.
But then the rope goes slack. She starts panicking.
Okay. So for me, this made a lot of sense to me. She's only once the air goes out, she's got to go like 100 meters up to the surface. She only has the air in her lungs. That's not going to last, right?
I think it does. It does.
It does.
Well, let's watch her. She reaches the surface and she's gasping for air.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Is she's gasping for air because she only had the air in her lungs. She's got to get to the surface to get to the air, right?
So I'm not a deep sea diving person, but from what I've heard and read, I think it's not like that. It's as long as you don't panic, you're okay. And so I did this calculation, a rough calculation, conceptually. So if you're at the bottom of the ocean, you're like this crab on the bottom of the seafloor. You get pulled up rapidly, right, and to the surface. You undergo a very large pressure change. And so you want to come up slowly for one reason is because you don't want the nitrogen to dissolve into your bloodstream, then work its way up to your brain. Now you have a part of your brain that's not getting blood flow, then you die. Okay, but I think if you come up slowly, you're fine. And so first, let's, I guess, step by step this. So if you're in the boat at the top of this water column, and if you went down, you would get an increase in water pressure.
Okay.
And so we can see that from equation number 1 there. That's Bernoulli's equation. This is for fluid flow. And so it's really an energy density equation. You take the energy in an area, and then you divide by volume. You get energy density, which for pressure, which is pressure, is a type of energy density. Mm-hmm. The second term is for kinetic energy. The third term is for potential energy from gravity. And then the fourth term on the right side of the equation is energy losses due to thermal losses.
Yeah.
Now, if we go from a straight vertical column, we don't have to
Right.
worry about the speed of the water. We don't have to worry about energy losses. So we can cross out those two terms.
Yeah.
We get the change in pressure is equal to minus the water density times the gravitational acceleration g times the change in height. All of that is to say, when you go down in water, you get an increase in pressure.
Yep.
Okay, so can you put your mouse on a column of water right next to the air hose?
Okay. So like you
So we're
saw
talking
up and
about
down.
coming from the atmosphere. Exactly. From the atmosphere down to the water hose.
Right.
If we go to the side and see where that air hose and the water meet up,
Yep.
these pressures have to be the same
Have to be the same.
because they have to be in equilibrium. If the pressure inside the air hose was less than the pressure in the water, then the pressure in the water would push the air hose, push the water level in the air hose up.
Agreed.
Okay, so that is to say that if you're water, you come down every 10 meters is an additional atmosphere.
Yep.
So if you're down 50 meters, you're now down at 6 atm, the one atmosphere from the air, and then and one more for every 10 meters.
Okay.
That also means that the pressure in the air hose right at the bottom is also, what did I say, 5 atm?
6 ATM.
What?
So 5
6
50
6
meters
ATM.
down, so 6 ATM total.
Exactly. So the pressure of the gas in the air hose right there is 6 times the pressure. Okay, now let's move over to the ideal gas law. PV equals N kBT. Pressure times the volume is equal to the total number of atoms times this Boltzmann constant, 6.62 times 1.38 times 10 to the negative 23 J per K times the temperature. Okay, so if we consider the volume as the volume of what's her name?
Juliet.
Juliet, yeah, thank you. The volume of Juliet's lungs, that volume is the same. So whether she's at the top at the boat or down at the bottom, the size of her lungs, they expand a little bit, but they're not like expanding meters.
Yep.
Okay, so how can we get a gas pressure down at that depth to be 6 atm? Well, you increase the number of gas particles n.
Okay.
So
let me can I walk through this a second?
Yeah.
So when Juliet's at the very bottom, she's breathing through the hose.
Yep.
And since she's at high pressure down in the water, the air hose air down at the bottom must be at the same pressure.
Exactly.
And so she can breathe through it.
Right.
And then we're going to look at the amount of air in her lungs. We can use the ideal gas law and say the pressure is now super high when she's down, way down in the water. And because the volume of her lungs doesn't change that much and the temperature doesn't change that much and Boltzmann's constant is a constant, the only way to get high pressure is to increase the number of atoms.
That's right.
Which means if she's at like 6 atmospheres, then she has 5 times the number of atoms in her lungs.
6 times. 6 times, yeah.
Well, five times, right?
Five additional, more than usual.
Right. So that's right. So if it's 1 N at atmosphere, she now has at 6 atmospheres she'll have 6 times. 6 times that. 5
Right.
additional. And so the pressure in her lungs is super high, entirely due to the new atoms, the additional atoms in her lungs. So if you
maybe like an easy way to say it is if you take a breath down deep, it's the same as taking 6 times the amount of gas as if you were up at the top.
Okay. So in the clip, she's down here. The air hose goes away. She loses pressure. And now she's down at the bottom here with a huge amount of oxygen in her lungs.
One lungs full, one volume, but it's actually very dense. There's 6 times the amount of gas, or however much. There's a lot more gas than there usually is.
Right.
And so I think it's enough oxygen for her to make it up.
Yeah.
As long as she comes up slowly.
Yeah. So if you're saying if I hold my breath, I can hold my breath for a minute up here. If I take one big breath and hold my breath down here, I now have 6 times that. So it's 6 minutes.
Right.
And the lower I go, the more time I get to hold my breath. And
so the coming up slow, the reason you want to come up slow is so that you don't dissolve the nitrogen gas in your bloodstream that's dissolved. You don't want wait, how do I say this? You want to take the nitrogen that's in your gas into your bloodstream, you don't want it to form bubbles. So you come up slowly. Another reason you come up slowly is that you're coming up calmly with very like minimal physical exertion, because your body, that way your body can use the same amount of oxygen like per second. Why is that important? Because then you're generating like a very small amount of carbon dioxide. Like my understanding of people's that burning sensation when you hold your breath for too long, it's not actually that you're out of oxygen. It's that the carbon dioxide that you're exhaling, that you're generating, is turning into carboxylic acid and it's burning. And so then you get a burning feeling and your body's like, get it out, get it out, get it out. Okay. But if you stay calm, then you don't have an accelerated consumption of oxygen. You don't have an accelerated generation of carbon dioxide. And then since you have so much gas in your body because you inhaled this high pressure air, then that amount of carbon dioxide that you generate is actually a small percentage, or at least smaller than you would have if you had come up, if you're at the surface. I see. So I think she would have had enough oxygen.
So what you're saying is what she should have done is realize at the bottom here she has lots of time because she has so much air in her lungs. So she should go up maybe 10 meters, exhale a little bit, chill out for a little bit,
right,
and then maybe do a Valsalva thing, and then this is the equilibrate with your ears, you know.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then go up another 10 meters, chill out, release some air, and do the same thing, and just step by step up there. And she could have up to, it looks like she's really far down in the water. She could have up to like 5 to 10 minutes to do this.
I don't have any numbers on that, but from what I've heard from deep sea divers, and I guess not as deep sea divers, that like free divers, that you actually have a lot of air in your body.
Yeah, that's
like, as long as you know about it and you know not to panic, it's okay.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you said there in your example and in your explanation is that you have to let out some gas as you go. Like even though there's still good oxygen in there, if you hold your breath the whole way, then your lungs will expand as the pressure equilibrates. So you have to let out some air.
Right. I guess it might actually get painful where you're like, I gotta exhale as you go up.
Right.
That
but
it might
not
be
because
natural.
of the burning from carbon dioxide.
Right.
But because your lungs are too expanded and it's like too much pressure.
Right. So in the scene, I thought she panicked because she ran out of oxygen, and so she's like, I'm gonna screw the bends. I'm just gonna
up the top. Go. Yep.
But actually, she's got so much air in her lungs, she doesn't have to go that quickly.
Right. But as long as you can stay calm, which like not an easy thing, like for sure.
Right.
Like I've never been in that situation. I probably would panic too. But if she could push past that, I think the rise to the top is actually very comfortable.
Right. I think one big thing about not panicking would be knowing that you have time.
Right.
If she doesn't know it, then she's going to panic thinking she doesn't have time.
I don't want to drown.
I don't want to drown, Yeah. And at the very end, she did something that really annoyed me.
Oh?
She threw the goggles away. Watch. She's got the goggles with the flashlight attached. She throws them away. They're not in her hand anymore.
Yeah, those are not going to be made again. Those are the last goggles ever.
I mean, I guess Solo kind of put them together, improvised with a welding suit or something, and but what are you doing? You might need to go into the water again.
I didn't mean it sarcastically. I mean, like, how many sets of welding goggles does you have?
That's right.
How many sets of perfectly cut glass does you have? Like, unless they're manufacturing rubber to adapt to any size glass, like, no. This is maybe the last one that they're ever going to see. She threw it away.
Why? In episode 1, she threw away the plastic container that rescued her when she fell in the water. She's got a second plastic container because this one's red.
That's red. That's a different one.
Yeah.
I noticed that too.
And we got a screenshot from the first episode. Here she is. She was rescued by this plastic container.
Yep.
Definitely gray. This one is clearly red.
Maybe this is actually a lesson of this is a good place to keep them. Because you never know when you might be in the water again. So you keep your containers, your flotation devices floating on the water.
And they're just doing some work. I mean, they're just ready for flotation and rescuing at all times.
This saved the series twice. These floating containers.
But the thing about the goggles, though, is the goggles don't float. They're sinking to the bottom of the silo. They're gone forever. You're never going to get them back.
That's right.
You
And
might need to go back into the water.
oh, she have to swim all the way to the bottom. What if she can't find a proper helmet? This could have been useful. Like a proper helmet for when she wants to leave this silo. This could have been useful for her. It's not like airtight to her mouth, but at least it covers her eyes and stuff.
Right, so she
Eyes and her
couldn't find
nose.
a full helmet, but she could have goggles plus an air mask.
Little air mask. That'll do it.
But without the goggles, maybe it'll burn her eyes. She can't see when she goes outside. It's just so many reasons to keep the goggles.
Yeah, and why did she even need to pull them off? Right? It's not like the water was in her
Right.
eyes or anything.
That's right. Get secure on the stairs before you pull them off,
Yup.
and then take them off. I mean, it's a
There's a
sucky
flashlight.
situation.
There's a flashlight built into those. She threw away a flashlight too.
Right. What do you? Oh, there's a flashlight. Yeah. It's a working flashlight, and it's working so well that it went down to super high pressures and came back up. So it's it's a solid flashlight. Gone.
Honestly, if I was solo, I'd be pissed. I made this thing for you. Threw it away.
Right, you
Threw it
just
down to
throw
this
it away.
bottom of the water that we'll never see again.
Yeah. I thought you wanted to go to a different silo, and now you're throwing away good equipment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Juliet.
Oh, Juliet. But she aced this entire excursion. Like, she didn't have any
Yeah.
problems other than Solo disappearing.
Disappearing.
That's
we
not her
think
fault.
we think because somebody else is in the silo and he got stabbed or something.
Looks like it.
Looks like it. We'll find
Got
out
a
next time.
nosebleed. Had to run.
All right, we'll find out.
Find out
Season
next
2, episode 7, next time.